Hi, and welcome back to Horizon Forbidden West with me, a confused JPEG. I have a lot of questions about these Zenith people, like, how the fuck can they fly and teleport? And also, is Val okay? And the game got an update after, whether was it the state of play? And then it updated again for some reason, but I have no clue what the other one was. Anyway, let's go up and talk to the alien lady. Well, I mean, she's human, but she is also an alien. What the fuck is this?
Just a few favorites from my collection.
Collection of what?
And stored here just before I went off-world. Take a look, if you like. I'm curious to hear your impressions.
My friend is dead. Beta and Gaia.
Dead? Wait, what?
You want me to look at old paintings?
Don't be so quick to dismiss the comfort we can find in art, or the insight we might gain.
Insight into what?
My favorite pairing. On the left is Woman Reading a Letter by Vermeer, a true master. And on the right is a forgery, Woman Reading Music, which fooled experts into believing it was a priceless original. Early in my career, I became fascinated with such deceptions. Eventually, I developed scanning software that could detect fakes with unparalleled accuracy.
Is that how you made enough money to buy your way onto the Odyssey?
Ooh, nice.
Oh, no. I made my real fortune later.
Well, you suck either way. Kind of. What in the fuck is this?
And Endymion. She's the goddess of the moon, whereas he's a simple shepherd. Beside her is the god of love, Cupid.
So she's sneaking up on him?
More like visiting him in secret. The torch that Cupid bears represents Celine's undying infatuation with him. Though the two must remain apart, her love will forever burn. This is Rembrandt painting Jeremiah, a man in mourning.
Mourning what?
His home. The ancient city of Jerusalem. He foresaw its impending doom, but could do nothing to prevent it. So instead, he saved its treasures from destruction, just as I saved these works. You could say we're kindred spirits.
What is the point of this?
A portrait of the painter, Rembrandt's son Titus, depicted in the habit of a monk.
I don't get it.
I have a friend who has a pit bull named
Someone
Titus.
like you, with infinite resources, care about this painting of a boy in a hood.
It's not the image itself, but the feeling it conveys. The face is bright and defined, but his eyes are downcast, heavy with misfortune. And the background seems to swallow all light. The painting is infused with a sense of loss.
I guess I understand how the painter feels.
Rembrandt's The Night Watch, by far the most famous painting my homeland ever produced. It was commissioned to honor a militia made up of influential citizens.
I guess you must have been an influential citizen.
In my day. But not as influential as you've been in this new world.
Wait, what happens if I examine it
The
again?
militia. They look disorganized.
Where others painted such scenes in a stiff and stationary manner, Rembrandt chose to show them in action, preparing to march. He wanted them to feel alive. You can almost hear the commotion.
Who's the girl in the painting?
Oh, you can keep asking about them. Oh, cool.
Bathed in light, though no one is paying attention to her. Many believe she's a symbol of the militia. A physical manifestation of their spirit, if you will.
But she's not real?
What's real in a painting? She's meant to represent the militia's virtue and
This entire militia of men
but I
have the
like to
spirit
think
of a
they
little girl.
underestimate her. She looks as if she's seen something. What does she know? What secrets does she keep?
What the fuck did she see?
The Gust by Willem van de Velde, the most famous of his many maritime paintings.
A ship crossing into the unknown. I guess you're familiar with that.
That's the only one that kind of seems to make sense here.
I appreciate this composition in particular. Though waves and wind threaten to destroy the ship, it perseveres, clinging to the light even as darkness closes in all around it.
Okay, I'm gonna go through all this other dialogue, but I'm probably gonna cut that out. Okay, I think I got all of them. It's some very philosophical stuff, kind of reflects what's been going on in the games. What is this?
Stunning, isn't it? Paintings were the only masterpieces of my people's golden age.
Okay, I guess there's more.
This is Van Vianen's lidded ewer, molded from a single sheet of silver.
Silver?
What was it for?
How like Elizabeth you are. Function over form. Its practical purpose was less.
What the fuck is going on with Aloy's eyes? I don't know if that's picking up in the recording or not.
Created it in honor of his late brother, who himself was a famous silversmith.
A memorial.
Yes. Such beauty from sorrow.
Oh, I think I got all of them. Oh yeah, some of the dialogue kind of implies that Val is dead, which is fucking sad.
Was a memorial.
It kind of
How
sucks.
did you end up with it?
As the Pharaoh swarm closed in, my homeland's greatest museum gave it to me, along with many other works, in the hope that I could preserve them. A masterpiece like this was too important to lose to history. I even considered bringing it with me off-world to ensure its safety.
Why didn't you?
I took a calculated risk. This vault seemed more secure than the unknowns of space. Besides, I thought someday I might return. A long life, after all, has its advantages.
Yeah, how do you live this long, by the way?
Here I am.
Also, this place isn't all that secure, considering where it is.
Exquisite, isn't it?
Oh my god, there's so much. I'm gonna skip out on all of this in the video.
She's pulling out her own hair. Out of madness? Out of grief? It's hard to watch her suffer.
Oh, okay, wait, there's not that more. Thought there would be more to that.
A lot of weight on his shoulders. I know the feeling.
Why does she sound so muffled?
I should move on.
What the fuck just happened? Is there anything else around here? Nope. That's a cool ass door.
There you are. Feeling better?
How did you find us? At the cauldron? And what did you do to everyone right before I passed out?
Yeah, what the fuck was that solar flare?
See. Well, suffice it to say we were keeping a very close eye on Hephaestus, knowing we would need it at some point. Your ruse didn't fool us, and as for my little trick, it was an overload of the senses, accompanied by an energy discharge. Gerard and Eric were only momentarily disoriented due to their shields, but it rendered you unconscious while I got you out. Perhaps some breakfast might steady you a bit?
Okay, sure. But that still doesn't explain the solar flare all that much. How did you do that?
This was your house. The one you recreated for Beta, in the data channel you shared.
How perceptive of you. Please, this way.
After everything your people have done, you think I'm just gonna Sit down and have a chat with you?
Well, you've been talking to her all this time. God damn.
They never were, and especially not now.
You shot off into space with them. And lived with them for 1,000 years before coming back. So what made you suddenly turn on them?
Quite simply, this.
My old focus. You repaired it? But that means you've seen...
Incredible things. What you've accomplished in 2 decades of life.
Wait, where did she get that from?
1,000 years at my back and I haven't even come close. I'm sorry if I invaded your privacy, but I had to. In order to understand. To be enlightened. You truly are Elizabeth's blood. With her drive, her sense of mission, her integrity. Watching all this shamed me for the company that I've kept. Having seen it, all I want is to help you.
Even if it means stopping your friends?
Especially so. Please, sit down.
Do I get to ask her how she can fly and shit like that? It's kind of the most interesting part here.
That's better. Now,
Also, where did she get all this
you
shit
must
from?
recover Beta and Gaia at all costs. By now, you must know that Gerard intends to use Gaia to reboot the Earth's biosphere. Remaking this world to specifications that would only suit us immortals. This process will kill every living thing on the planet.
How are you immortal?
He calls it a clean install.
Not if I stop him first.
Not if we do. And once he and the others are gone, we can work together to fulfill Elizabeth's dream. I'm sure Beta told you that there's a build of the Apollo database on board our ship. A complete collection of human knowledge. With that and Gaia, we could do everything Elizabeth wanted. Heal the biosphere, educate the people of this world, uplift them. Create the world she imagined.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. From what I've seen, your friends are invincible.
I do wish you would stop calling them my friends. And they're not invincible. In fact, a friend of yours has found a way to defeat them.
Silence.
Oh, he's been a busy bee, building an army powerful enough to crash through Gerard's precious base.
Yeah. Regala and her rebels.
Even now, she's preparing a final march on the Tenakth capital. When she wins, she'll have the entire tribe under her control. Hundreds of warriors and machines to throw at the base. She's been duped. They'll all perish, of course. But
Well,
it should
I
be
was just
enough
about to say that
Gerard's defenses and
that doesn't seem like it'll
science
work.
to kill him, along with all the others.
Using the new weapon he's developed.
Yes, he's found a way to circumvent our shields. Truly an exceptional man. He's planned for everything. Except you and me.
Wait, isn't he like tapped into
You
everyone's
see, while
focus
his
and shit though?
army is battering down Gerard's doors, you and I will sneak in through a back way. One that only I know about.
That's convenient.
While Silence and my friends are busy battling each other, we'll take back Beta and Gaia. I told you I want to help you. I mean it.
Yeah, wait, how did she get the
My old
focus?
focus. How did you find it, let alone repair it?
When we encountered you at the Hades Proving Lab, Gerard saw you as a redundancy. I knew better. You were a revelation. After your dramatic escape, bravo, by the way. Gerard and Eric assumed you were dead and gave up the hunt. I wasn't so sure. When the others were busy, I returned to the lab and searched for any trace of you. That's when I found this little treasure. Not easy to repair, but certainly worth the effort. As I watched your life unfold, you were like a splash of color on a worn canvas. What Liz was, and more.
Did you show it to the others?
Of course not. It was your actions that inspired me to defy them. It's worth noting that if I hadn't found it and watched its contents, I wouldn't have known to save you at the cauldron. You'd be dead.
So I should be grateful?
If you like.
Yeah, wait,
So
what about
you know
her?
all about me. What about you?
How do you fly?
Well, start with your life on Earth.
When I was 8, terrorists flooded my home city. Thousands drowned, my parents included. I was one of the few who survived. My guardian sent me to boarding school. Among my peers, I was the strange girl, the orphan to be avoided. All because of circumstances beyond my control.
Oh. So we're a lot alike, huh?
Aren't we? You
Not
were
really.
honest. But you didn't let that stop you from getting what you needed. Neither did I. I climbed my way out of desolation and used my wits to build a fortune. First, from the technical analysis of art and the detection of forgeries. Profitable expertise in those days. But as it turned out, the software I developed was even more useful for counterintelligence. From there, it was only a short step to gathering extremely valuable intelligence on my own.
You were a spy?
More like a service one could turn to for information. I had to remain anonymous, of course, to protect my privacy. But despite that anonymity, Far Zenith inevitably sought me out.
What happened when Far Zenith approached you?
They painted an irresistible vision of humanity's future. One where we need not fear illness or death, where we explored the furthest reaches of the stars and thrived. It was only later that I realized that they only intended to bequeath this future to the rich and powerful. By the time
Yes, but how? What did they do?
The walls were closing in, Pharaoh's machines were devouring the earth. So I accepted Far Zenith's invitation to a birth on the Odyssey. I wanted Liz to come, but she had nobler plans, as you well know.
So you didn't know the other Zeniths were monsters until it was too late?
I knew some of them were, certainly. It wasn't until we were off-planet that I understood the true scope of their greed. I was grateful to simply be alive, but the others became obsessed with a kind of effortless immortality. They built a colony where machines serviced their every need, where any memory or fantasy could be endlessly savored in virtual reality. It wasn't life. It was stultifying, a pampered dream state. As the decades passed, I withdrew more and more, alone yet again, but this time with eons to consider my mistakes. Now
Yes, but how? That's the part I don't get. How were you immortal?
I have a second chance.
To do what?
Help you, of course. To fulfill Liz's dream, which isn't so different from Far Zenith's original vision. A better future for humanity.
It's a pretty broad spectrum to be working with. Okay, that covers them. Their plan.
Ada told me your colony was destroyed. That you came back to Earth because you had nowhere else to go.
It's true. After we reached our destination, a planet in the Sirius star system, we spent decades building a new home. The physical constraints of Earth, the boundaries of mortality, gone. To think of what we could have done with it. It might have been a utopia. Instead, we stagnated, absorbed in effortless comforts and virtual realities. It took a cataclysm to finally yank us out of our stupor.
What happened?
A massive geological event. We knew of instabilities in the planet core, but we underestimated them. By the time the collapse was upon us, it was too late to stop it. Only a few of us made it to the ship in time. We set course for Earth, the only safe harbor left to us.
Which you decided to make unsafe for anyone else.
Not me. Gerard. He believes it's better to wipe the canvas clean than work around the smudges. No more primitive tribes, no more combat machines, only a blank slate to do with as he pleases. But we will stop him. All we have to do is get into that base.
So what were they, like a bunch of fucking Kryptonians or something? There was an entire planet of them. Well, maybe a couple hundred, but that's still a lot.
What exactly is your plan to sneak into the Zenith base?
We will make use of a lesson I learned from an early age. Always know your exits. In this case, a place where Gerard's new construction meets the ancient foundation. A passage that only I can access. When
Why?
Silence flings his army at the base, we will enter through this back door, bypassing most of the fighting. The distraction will provide us with a window in which to rescue Beta and Gaia.
Once we're inside the base, where will we find Beta and Gaia?
Here in the command center. By then, Gaia will have been reunited with all of its subordinate functions, including Hephaestus.
What about the alpha build of Apollo on your ship?
A simple matter of recovery once the others have been dealt with. With that in hand, we'll have everything we need to make this world as it should be.
That's kind of cool, actually.
You said Beta is not in urgent danger, so what are the Zeniths doing to her?
Putting her to work. Merging Hephaestus with Gaia.
Didn't we do that already?
Difficult, time-consuming task, as I'm sure you know. They will compel her if need be. But her life is not in danger. She's the only one who can do it.
Because you people made her to be nothing but a tool.
Gerard's idea, not mine. They always viewed me with suspicion when I attempted any form of kindness towards her. That's why I created the data channel. A virtual place where we could speak in peace.
Okay.
So this
What's the data channel
you
about?
shared with Beta. None of the other Zeniths ever found out about it.
That's a good question.
Gerard believes he's the most cunning of all of us. Even after 1,000 years, he still can't imagine that I would outwit him.
So he's a
The
dumbass.
channel allowed me to interact with Beta away from their mistrustful eyes. It offered us a chance to be ourselves.
Until you cut off all contact.
Yes, though it pained me. I was worried that our meetings would do her more harm than good.
Well, she felt like you tossed her aside.
I was afraid the others would find out and punish her. She may not have had the comforts of friendship anymore, but at least I ensured she was safe. I know it seems harsh, but you must believe that her well-being has always been paramount to me.
But why?
Why did you make the data channel look like this place?
I built this house as a shelter to weather any storm. A safe place. Not just for me, but for the art stored below.
And you couldn't put some people in there
Cultural
to keep them
artifacts
alive?
of incalculable value. Truly some of the greatest achievements of human civilization.
And you wanted Beta to see them?
Yes. Her upbringing was so cold and technical. I thought if she could experience Vermeer and Rembrandt, it would bring something else into her life. A heritage every bit as valuable as the scientific and technical data being drummed into her. I'm sorry I had to cut off contact, but I'll never regret sharing this house with her. She needed its shelter even more than I did.
But you didn't think to stuff some people in there to keep them alive? Kinda stupid when you have this
Plan.
vault that can keep a bunch of art
He
alive.
isn't the only one adept.
Or preserved, that's a better word.
You hacked his focus?
No, he's too careful for that. But his subordinates? Not so much. He gave additional focuses to the tribals he branded the Sons of Prometheus.
The ones working with Regala.
By tapping their focuses, I learned about most of his dealings. The distribution of override technology, the arming of Tanakh rebels, and the secret pact with Regala to attack Gerard's base.
But how did he come up with a weapon that can take down your shields?
Isn't that the thing we found on the
That's the one thing I
mountain?
haven't been able to figure
I don't
out.
remember what it's called.
However he did it, I'm quite certain it will work. With it and the Tanakh army, victory seems to be within his grasp. Such a shame he'll be disappointed.
Regala's only interested in killing Hekarro and waging war on the Karja. What does she have to gain by attacking Zenith?
Nothing.
It's the price she must pay for her war. Without the ability to override machines, her little rebellion would have languished in the desert.
So she trades with the Sons of Prometheus. Machines to help her overthrow Hekarro.
In exchange for an assault on the base. Pride has deluded her into thinking she can actually survive such a battle. And all without ever knowing who the Sons of Prometheus really answer to. Yet for all of Silence's brilliance, still he underestimates you.
Yes, because Aloy is a god, apparently.
Is what will allow us to take Beta and Gaia right out from under him.
While hundreds of Tanakh are cut down outside. So you knew Elizabeth. What was she like?
How
Liz
did you know her,
was
actually? That's a better question.
everything she was, I see in you. And more. Your ingenuity, your determination, your moral compass. You've managed to distill her greatest qualities and make them your own.
I'm not asking about me. Tell me about Elizabeth. What was she really like?
The honest answer is that I don't actually know. For all the time that I spent with her, she always kept a part of herself locked away. It was like that from the moment we met.
How did you meet?
So when you
Why are we
met
asking
Elizabeth,
such
she
useless
was
questions? Where's the main questions, the important ones? How do you fly?
Not aloof.
Where did you
Not
get this kind of tech?
exactly.
How are you
It
immortal?
was a summit in Paris about machine learning, a touchy subject in those days, because regulatory authorities were just starting to clamp down on AIs. Liz gave the keynote address. She had already achieved great renown for her work in automated environmental reclamation. But in her address, she was just starting to imagine the next step. An AI-driven system that wouldn't just act on its programming, but actually take responsibility for its sphere of influence.
To care about life. Not just follow orders.
Gaia.
Revolutionary stuff. I was fascinated. And I wanted to meet her for a long time. I watched her after her talk. She had spoken with such moral authority, such empathy. But after that, she retreated. I could tell she felt uncomfortable with all of her admirers. It was as if giving the talk had cost her something.
Kind of like what's
I didn't
happening with
want to
Aloy
impress,
now.
so I planned my approach carefully.
So how did you finally approach Elizabeth after her talk?
I picked the right moment. The morning of the next day, right as she came back to the conference, she had just had her coffee. She was fresh, rested. It was like she had braced herself for the onslaught of colleagues. I asked if I could walk with her, then put forth a question about her talk that I thought was intelligent. Her answer made me realize it wasn't, but she was very welcoming.
Oh, fuck. I almost dropped my
Almost
controller.
as if we were previously acquainted. It was only halfway through the conversation that I realized she knew exactly who I was. It was
soon-to-be Marvel
quite a
villain.
shock to me. My business was trafficking in secrets, and I took great pains to protect my anonymity. So that was Liz, perpetually one step ahead. I came to view our meeting as a metaphor for our friendship. She always seemed to know me far better than I knew her.
I guess I know the feeling.
Oh, Okay, that's all of it. That was a lot of dialogue.
First Varl. Now Hikaru and the Tenakth.
Again, how do you all know Varl is dead? Can't one of these Zenith people revive him or something?
An entire tribe.
He was like the best thing about this game.
There has to be another way.
We are in an admittedly desperate situation, but I assure you there isn't. Remember Zero Dawn. Elizabeth's sacrifice. Sometimes many have to die for a new world to grow.
But why does Varl have to die?
Looks impossible. Look deeper. Wait. The data channel. It still exists, doesn't it? I need you to open it. Let me talk to Beta.
Impossible. We might be detected.
It's
Does it
worth
matter?
the risk. There is another way, one where the Tenakth survive.
But we won't. If the others...
If you want to help, open it.
What the fuck is that? How do you just wave your hands and shit like this happens? Kinda cool though, but what the fuck?
What are they doing to her?
Virtual reality dissociation. The manual merge of Hephaestus will take hours upon hours of tedious micromanagement. If she resists the work, they run simulations to induce feelings of isolation and despair.
So, simulated torture.
Beta, can you hear me?
You're alive. They're watching me. I can't hold up this extra projection for long. You should have killed me.
What the fuck?
No. No, look at me. I'm coming for you. I promise. Okay? I just need you to hold out a little while longer and work on the merge.
What is that? What did she say?
Then I think it can be done.
I'll contact again when it's time. Can you hold on?
As long as I know you're coming for me, I can endure anything.
Aw. But Varl though.
All right. I did as you asked. Now I think you need to tell me what you're planning.
Me as
I'm
well.
gonna take Silent's army away. I don't need it. Only the weapon he made to penetrate your shields.
And how do you propose to get it? Ask him nicely?
Without Regala and her rebels, he won't have a choice. We'll be his only option.
Only option.
So we're going to fight Regala.
Did you tell her?
That is between me and my sister.
Aw.
Will be Silent's only option for crashing that base. I'll tell you the rest later. But first, there are a couple of things I have to do.
Oh. And what are those?
Lay my friend to rest. And then I'm going to use the override.
So Varl actually is dead. I was hoping he would survive somehow.
From the air.
Wait. Since you insist on doing things your way, I know of something that will truly help you make a grand entrance with the Tenakth.
What is that?
The ancient Horus Titans still possess electromagnetic energy cells as part of their arsenal. Drop one of those on Regala's army and they'll receive quite a surprise. So go, do what you must. I'll come to your base if you manage to bring silence to the table.
Not if. When.
Nice one-liners. Also, where is she going?
Erend, are you there?
Aloy! Aloy, is that really you?
Yeah, it's me. Where's everyone else?
We're all... We're back at base. What happened?
It might be easier to explain in person. I'll try to join you there when I can.
Okay. We'll wait here for you. It's good to hear your voice, Aloy.
Looks like there's more to this place. I'm sure Tilda won't mind me poking around. I gotta get through these vines.
So no Val anymore. Holy shit, is that their base? She's so close to it, what the fuck? Okay, I assume that's the Zenith's base off in the distance there. Also, this part was full of seemingly useless dialogue about paintings. I mean, I guess there's some stuff that parallels the games, but none of them bring back Val, so it's pointless to me. So if you're like, actually, who the fuck am I kidding? Who truly likes so much dialogue after what happened to Val? And we didn't even get to ask the important questions, like how the fuck are they immortal and how can they fly?